The secret CEO's revenge. Amara stood beside her husband, Daniel, believing their 7-year marriage was unbreakable. She had supported him through job losses, emotional storms, and late-night ambitions. But one rainy evening, he walked into their living room with a suitcase and a rehearsed coldness in his eyes. "I'm done, Amara. I've found someone better for my future." His words stabbed, deeper than any knife. What she didn't know was that Daniel had fallen for Tiana, the glamorous daughter of the man he believed owned the company where he worked. He saw her as his shortcut to power and wealth. In his greed, Daniel threw away the woman who built him, never imagining that the empire he was chasing belonged to the wife he abandoned. Amara sat quietly in her office the next morning, the skyline of Lagos stretching beneath her like a silver river. She had been raised by her grandfather, the founder of the global tech finance giant where Daniel worked. Though elegant and humble, she was the actual owner, the silent CEO whose identity remained hidden behind boardroom walls. Daniel had no idea his ambition was dragging him out of the palace he was already living in. And Amara, broken but far from defeated, wiped her tears, straightened her blazer, and whispered, "If he wants a new life, he'll get one, but not the life he thinks." Daniel flaunted his new relationship everywhere, taking pictures with Tiana, gifting her flowers Amara used to love, and appearing at events with his chin raised in pride. He felt chosen, believing God had finally lifted him. Friends praised him, and he soaked in the attention like a thirsty plant. Meanwhile, Amara remained silent. She never confronted him, never cried publicly. She simply poured her soul into her company. Her silence was not weakness, it was power-gathering momentum. A month later, Daniel received an invitation to a special executive ceremony. He walked in confidently, certain he was being promoted because of his relationship with the boss's daughter. He rehearsed a victory speech in his mind. But when he entered the grand conference room, the applause wasn't for him. The lights shifted to Amara, his ex-wife, standing at the center, regal, radiant, and introduced as the official CEO and sole owner of Dynacore Global. Daniel felt the ground disappear beneath him. Daniel's legs trembled as Amara's full identity was revealed. Every executive bowed their heads in respect. He felt like a fool who had traded God's blessing for an illusion. Jealous whispers and embarrassed gasps filled the room. Amara met his stunned eyes. There was no hatred, only strength. "Daniel," she said calmly, "you wanted to climb to the top. Congratulations. You're looking right at it from the outside." That night, social media buzzed with photoshed leans and gossip. Tiana, embarrassed that she had been dating a man who left the CEO for her, began pulling away. She realized she never wanted him, she only wanted the image. Daniel, confused and humiliated, tried contacting Amara. She didn't block him, she didn't insult him. She simply let him sit in the prison of the consequences he built himself. Amara introduced new policies at the company, strengthening her leadership. Her employees respected her more deeply than ever. Her grace under pressure made her a legend. Meanwhile, Daniel's career began to crumble. People no longer saw him as the rising star, but as the man who threw away gold to chase painted stones. Daniel began stalking Amara's pages, rewatching old photos, replaying old memories, and questioning his choices. The woman he abandoned now looked like a queen he could never touch again. Regret became his midnight companion. He tried returning to his old life, but the door was locked, not by Amara, but by his own actions. Tiana broke up with him in public, humiliating him in front of the same friends who once praised him. She accused him of using her for power and called him poor excuse of a man. Daniel lost his job shortly after, not by Amara's instruction, but because his department discovered suspicious activities tied to his greed. Amara began to heal. She traveled, prayed, meditated, and surrounded herself with genuine people who saw her worth. Her beauty glowed from within. With every step forward, she became stronger, and the empire she now openly led grew with her strength. Daniel moved into a smaller apartment, living paycheck to paycheck, his pride shattered into pieces he couldn't pick up. He could not escape the truth. He didn't lose Amara. He threw her away. During a charity event, Amara met Lucas, a gentle, wealthy philanthropist with a soft smile and genuine heart. He admired her intelligence, not her title. For the first time in years, Amara felt something warm as sparked, not forced, not stolen, not demanded. Daniel showed up at Amara's office, tears staining his once confident face. He begged for forgiveness, claiming he had changed. "Give me another chance," he whispered. Amara looked at him with pity. "Not love, Daniel. I forgave you a long time ago. But you lost your place in my future the day you abandoned me." Lucas and Amara grew closer, becoming a powerful couple, admired across industries. She deserved a love that lifted her, not one that drained her. Her company expanded across Africa, Asia, and Europe. She became a global icon, loved, respected. Daniel watched Amara's wedding from afar, months later. Her happiness was undeniable, her glow untouchable. He wept not because she moved on, but because he finally understood. Real blessings are not always loud. Sometimes they come soft, humble, and wrapped in the person you take for granted. And Daniel would spend the rest of his life learning the lesson he taught himself.